The industry has evolved over the years. Analog to digital, isolated to network, server-based to cloud-based, but fundamental pains persist. Rolling out hundreds of rooms quickly and reliably is difficult, time-consuming, and expensive. Complex equipment frustrates staff, managers, and executives alike. The recent shift to hybrid offices has organizations considering replacement of outmoded systems. They're looking for simple, reliable, flexible, secure, and easy-to-budget video conferencing solutions. It's time for a totally new approach. It's time the AV industry met the Internet of Things. Introducing Conference Room as a Service, subscription-based products and services only from Wesco. A subscription that scales and works for your business. Together, with your preferred AV installer, we help you choose the right size system for your meeting spaces, small rooms, medium-sized rooms, and large conference rooms. Once you've chosen the size room you want to deploy, choose Zoom or Microsoft Teams and add options like bring your own device and a monitor if needed. Then choose how many rooms you want to add to your subscription. It's that easy. Once your AV integrator has installed and activated your equipment, your Conference Room as a Service subscription has you covered with advanced replacement, an industry-leading warranty, live 24/7 world-class help desk support, and a portal for remote monitoring and service tickets. With this service, all rooms are online and ready to go once connected to the network. It's never been easier to deploy, monitor, and evolve your workplace technologies, all at an affordable price with easy payments. Conference Room as a Service subscription-based products and services, only from Wesco. Simple, reliable, flexible, secure, easy to budget.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling audio solution for AV conferencing. Because it mounts overhead, it provides more consistent sound quality throughout the room than an all-in-one soundbar mounted on the wall. The MXA902 has all three things needed for exceptional audio in small to medium-sized meeting spaces. First, there's an advanced array microphone with single-zone automatic coverage technology. It captures every participant in a 20 by 20 foot area right out of the box. Second, onboard IntelliMix DSP eliminates annoying echo and room noise and adjusts talker levels automatically. Everyone is heard clearly no matter where they sit. Finally, the MXA902 has a built-in wide dispersion loudspeaker that delivers robust sound throughout the room without the need for external speakers and amplifiers. Remote participants and program audio playback are easy to hear. With its revolutionary integrated design, the MXA902 is quicker to install than individual microphones, loudspeakers, and signal processors. One network cable with PoE Plus is all you need. The MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the ideal solution for AV conferencing in small and medium-sized meeting rooms. It's the fastest way to better sound.
If you're installing or troubleshooting network devices, you know that reliable operation depends upon the performance of the cabling and the network. With LinkIQ, you get cable testing from the world leader along with network testing. The LinkIQ can characterize the performance of your cable up to 10 gigabits per second and troubleshoot problems fast. When it's time to connect to the network, LinkIQ shows you the switch name and IP address, the port number, speed, and VLAN. It also shows the IP address of the switch and performs a connectivity test to an IP address of your choice. Plus power over Ethernet testing that includes a load test to make sure the power you need is really there. When you're done, store the results, then document it with Linkware, the industry's de facto standard. LinkIQ, cable testing you trust and network testing you need.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to AVIXA TV. We're here on the last day of InfoComm, and I'm just as excited today as I was on the first day. So I'm Samantha Powell.
I'm Ben Thomas. Unfortunately, this is our last rodeo for this year, but we've got some fantastic stuff happening today. Sam, what do we got?
Well, we've got AVIXA's very own CEO, Dave Labuskes, who's going to tell us his thoughts on this year's InfoComm, as well as a look to next year's in Las Vegas.
After that, we're having some conversations about sustainability and AV. What are some of the ways that manufacturers and users can actually drive change in the industry? Last conversation, you mentioned looking ahead to next year. We're talking Vegas, baby. So much stuff happening this year in Las Vegas. There's going to be an incredible amount of entertainment and things to look forward to next year at the show. So we're going to take a look ahead. Sam, you ready?
Let's go for it. Everyone in our audience and those watching at home, we're so happy to have you again today. We're still in Orlando, so I'm not sure what the hat is for, but
Do I look different
Just
today?
a little.
Well,
was it a late night?
No.
Okay.
Look, I just, big shout out to all the folks down in Texas. Texas is one of my favorite, well, I mean, I live there, but it's one of my favorite markets for AV in general. So go Cowboys, go Stars, go Rangers, go every other Texas team, except for the Astros. We don't like them.
We don't like them? No, we don't.
Well, I don't like them.
Once again, I was born a New Yorker, so go Yankees. So we'll leave that alone. So we'll actually start the show. We are joined today with AVIXA's very own Dave Labuskes, our CEO, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a wonderful InfoComm. Everyone just walking around and going to these amazing exhibits, and we've got so many new ones, including the Trailblazer Zone and Esports Live, which is just so energetic and exciting. Just want to get just some of your feedback on how you think this year's show has gone, and if you have any special highlights of any important moments and then things that you've seen throughout.
It was all right.
Just okay, you know.
There's so many words. I've actually been trying to listen to people's conversations and pick up on what are the adjectives that they're using, and they're phenomenal, they're outstanding, incredible, awe-inspiring. And it's all of those. And I think every edition of InfoComm has been all of those in its own way. People oftentimes ask me which was my favorite InfoComm, and that's sort of like asking which is your favorite child. And, you know, maybe we all have one, but we can't really actually say it out loud. But no, the event itself, the build-up to the event, and speaking to one of the exhibitors earlier this week, what he talked about was how pumped up his entire team is when they go home. So it's not only the incredible interactions, the learning, the networking, the opportunity to experience the magic of this industry while you're here, but it is in fact the build up to it, and then the afterglow from it, and I think this is just the heart of the AV industry, and it is certainly beating fast this time.
Absolutely.
David certainly passes the eyeball test being at InfoComm this year, but one of the things that we, as non-AVIXA folks, don't always get to see is what happens behind the scenes and some of the setup that has to happen ahead of time. Talk us about that process of planning maybe for next year and what went into the show this year.
Some of my favorite times being on the show floor are way before it opens. There's 1,000 people. I don't know what the real number is, but it feels like there's thousands of people in here moving crates, setting up walls, loading in equipment, and there's a bit of a different phase to each part of that build out. And of course, some of the bigger stands are here earlier, getting started. It's like when you're wrapping all the presents for Christmas and they're all scattered everywhere and there's wrapping paper and ribbon flying through the house. The build-up while we're here in Orlando is a magical time, and then it's really fun to walk through the floor around 11, 12 o'clock at night on Tuesday night, and just each year shaking my head thinking there's no way we're going to open. Before that, though, we are already well into planning 2024, and the work is typically being done. It starts about 18 months before the show cycle, and there's probably 10 or 15 people that are working almost full time on that show at this point, looking at what do we take from this year's event, how do we build it to a greater crescendo for next year's event, what worked this year, what needs to be tweaked for next year. It's an annual, ongoing, cycled process.
Yes, it is. As an AVIXA staff, yes, it is. But it's so exciting, and just everyone, I can at least speak from staff at AVIXA, is just so excited and passionate about this industry, this event, and just everything that our industry has to offer. So, being that this is an event where there's so much networking that's going on and conversations and just everyone learning about all the new different AV technology and getting so much education. How can people continue to keep those conversations going after InfoComm ends?
Well, the obvious answer is AVIXA Exchange. We put that into place just a little over a year ago, and been an amazingly enriching community. It's actually evolving more and more into the online platform where you can ask a question, whether it's in preparation for your CTS exam or in how to hook up Part A to Part B and make them talk nice to each other, where you can identify some of the latest trends in hybrid workplace or in live event technology. We built it intentionally to be a place where those connections that were either made or nourished here could in fact continue and be further enriched. We all live online in one form or another, and trying to deliver all that is needed to the industry in 3 days here, or if you include all of the shows around the world, in 20 days in different locations, or 25 days. One, it's impossible, and two, the capabilities of sharing of information and sort of one-to-many, and people being able to jump in to a conversation or contribute their expertise in what happens in that exchange place just simply can't be replicated here any more than what happens here can be replicated online.
Well, Dave, obviously InfoComm is the capstone of AVIXA's calendar every single year, but one of the things I love about InfoComm is it introduces a lot of people to AVIXA for the first time. What are some of the things that you're seeing, not only from a first-time attendee standpoint, but maybe some of those people who have been attending InfoComm for a while, but maybe just learning about AVIXA? What are some of the ways they can get involved?
Well, the easiest, I think, on-road to that is to jump into a council meeting. The councils cover a wide range of sort of identifying aspects of people. They're grassroots. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble thinking because that whole capstone word, that was awesome, by the way.
You can steal it. I didn't invent it.
They're the grassroots. They're the birds of the feathers. So the AVIXA Women's Council, the Rising Professionals Council, but also the Manufacturers Council, the Consultants Council. So however you want to connect with people that share commonality with you, whether it's the phase you are in your career or the role you have in the industry or your gender, those types of councils exist. And that's a ready-made group of people that you probably would like hanging out with. and it's more than hang out with. Those councils then identify annual projects that they want to work on, and we from the AVIXA team help to facilitate that. And then, a lot of people, that's sort of their gateway drug into volunteering and just giving their passion to the industry, and you end up getting involved in developing standards or participating on the membership committee that manages and creates and dissolves those councils. Teaching a class, writing articles. We have this really magical industry that marries art and science together and creates experiences that no other industry really could do without what we do. My kids are sick of walking around the world and me just like saying, look at that cool AV. And, what's that? It's called AV, Dad. The passion that the community brings to the association is why this show is so important, why it is, in fact, the capstone of the industry and of our year, is because it brings to life and creates physically that place wherein we can be a catalyst for market growth. We clearly are facilitating buyers and sellers meeting each other and making transactions. But it also serves our other mission, which is to be the hub for the AV profession. We've had, I think the number was 170 people that earned their CTS I or D this week. If you ask me about like my favorite moments, like standing at the certification desk when somebody walks out with the pass paper in their hand, is an awesome experience. And you know what? Standing outside the testing facility at the certification desk when somebody walks out without a passing paper and they are like, all right, I'm going to get it next time. That also is just as awesome. We're an industry that doesn't give up, as illustrated in the past few years. And you have that intense determination to make it right, to deliver an experience that nobody else can, tied to the magic of the art and science. And it's a cool place to be.
Well, thank you so very much for spending time with us. We appreciate your passion for the industry and your amazing leadership at AVIXA. And just thank you again for sitting with us today.
It is my honor. Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for spending all week doing this and extending the show out to the people that aren't here.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I think we got a chance to talk about and check out some of our favorite things. So
we did.
We?
Yours, I don't know. Yours looks cooler than mine.
Mine is definitely cooler than
But I don't know.
Well, why don't we take a look? It's a really great piece. Check it out. I'm here right now at one of my favorite things at InfoComm. It is View, and they are a virtual production studio. They've got 4 different locations, and they've got this unreal ride that I'm going to go ahead and take a ride in. I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm here with Jamie with View, and he's about to tell us a little bit about this experience and what I'm about to get myself into. So what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is just going to be a fun little demo about what virtual production is. So essentially, it's going to look like you're driving on the side of a mountain somewhere, but you're not. You're here in Orlando, in the swamp, and that's what we do at View. We make people look like they're somewhere else where they're really not, with the power of virtual production.
Oh, I'm excited. Here goes nothing.
You're looking for
I'm just a dude up here in a cowboy hat, and I've got to compete with that. That was like modeling 101, side-eye, had the wind in the hair, and I'm just up here like, hey, y'all, how you doing?
Well, that's what virtual production could do. So I can't take all the credit, but that was a really, really cool experience.
Well, look, going into our next conversation, we're having conversations, obviously, as an industry about sustainability. So AVIXA decided to do something about it and launched an AVIXA task force dedicated to that. Joining us now are two of those members. We got Dave Silberstein and Kristin Bidwell. Thanks so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Absolutely.
Sure, thanks for having us.
Well, Kristin, we'll go ahead and kick it off with you. Obviously, a task force for AVIXA means that it's important to our community. Talk about the origin specifically in this sustainability group.
Sure. So right now, the task force is kind of tasked with creating a proposal for AVIXA to show why we need a committee for sustainability in the AV industry. So we've been working on looking at best practices, looking at what manufacturers are doing, what they're not doing. We've been researching other industries. We've been looking at research from the UN. Obviously, I think a lot of people know that Europe is much further ahead than we are in this. So it's great because we don't have to recreate the wheel. The information's there, so we need to put that together. But this is the first step for AVIXA to be able to create the committee and to take those further steps towards sustainability.
And so what are the next steps, do you think, in this process of achieving the goals that is set forth for this task group?
Sure. I think really defining what's most important in this industry. When you talk about sustainability, there's so much that you can grab from, and we found that day one in our committee. We were just, everyone had other different ideas on what we can do in sustainability, and so we took a poll. What are the most important topics? What do we really need to focus on right now? And so we're really trying to figure out that path. To provide the committee with, hey, these are the most important issues in the industry. These are some low-hanging fruits that are easy to attain. These are not so easy to obtain, but what a lot of manufacturers are doing. And so we want to provide that information for the committee to move forward. Hopefully, at some point, we can help with at least. I would like to see the AV industry contribute to lead points, stuff like that. That's actually quantifiable.
Well, Dave, what's interesting, too, we talk about sustainability. A lot of times that skews more towards the green, energy-efficient conversation. But one of the conversations that I've heard throughout the last couple months is extending a product life cycle, right? Whether that's through active replacement, whether that's just flat out making technology last for a longer time, right? What are some of those maybe non-traditional things that you've heard, especially coming out of the ideas for long-term sustainability?
Sure. So there are many ways to look at sustainability, not only things like long-term operation, but then if we are going to turn something over, a lot of people turn over their rooms every 5 years. I totally understand that. Everybody wants the latest technology. When you turn that room over, what do you do with that technology? Do you throw it in the garbage? Do you give it to somebody else? Do you give it to a school where somebody can learn about AV and come back into this industry ultimately by the time you're done? So if you really look at what you're doing with that technology when you're giving it up, it can be powerful and used in another way.
And so are there any examples of some sustainability wins, you would say, within our industry that, we can share?
Absolutely. So within the sustainability task force, we've actually broken ourselves into 3 separate groups. We have a group focused on standards and regulations, because that's what's out there. That's what we're going to have to adhere to. We have a group that's focused on best practices, and then we have a group that's focused on communication, because communication and getting the word out is very important to everything we're doing. So when I look at best practices, not only do I look at manufacturers that have best practices that are working on things, but individuals that have created things. So I look at something like the milliwatt program, where they are focused on turn the amplifier off when the system turns down. And the very small things that ultimately can generate large savings by the time we're done. Or I look at somebody like AV Gives Back, who's focused on taking old equipment and recycling it to other organizations that need it somewhere else.
And Kristin, one of the things too that we see is different communities play different roles in sustainability, right? Manufacturers, that's a little bit more on the product design side. Obviously, your integrators, installers, you're looking at your reuse and maybe recycling. But your end users play a role in that, as you mentioned, Dave. What are some of the ways that end users specifically can help contribute to sustainability?
I think understanding that AV does play a huge role. I think that's the first thing. So professionally, I'm a consultant, so I do designs. And we talk to clients day one during schematic design to let them know that that AV equipment can actually help them in their sustainability goals. Because it's not really a conversation that's being had in the forefront. I know that a lot of consultants are starting to look at that or starting to talk to clients about it, but since there's no, hey, this can give you 10 lead points or whatever, it's not clear cut. But we are looking at specifying equipment that is recyclable, that does have lower energy efficiencies, and that helps them kind of understand what they can do. You know, hey, when that video wall dies in 5 years, what are you going to do with it? You know, or how much energy is that taking up in your lobby right now? Let's talk about some solutions that help you along the way.
Well, I want to follow up on that too. You mentioned lead points, right? When you start talking about lead points, that brings in the facilities management side of the house as well. Sure. How important is the collaboration between the technology team and that facility management team, especially in sustainability?
I think since it's not quantifiable, it's really hard to have that concrete conversation on this is how we're helping you, because LEED's been around forever, right? Sure. And there's multiple certifications you can get, not just LEED. LEED's just a word everyone knows. And architects have been using it forever. So I think we need to start having those conversations up front more and more to help reach their goals.
And so what gives you hope for a more sustainable future for AV? You know, everyone's talking about it, but what really gives you hope for this?
Sure. So actually yesterday we did, just for an example, yesterday the Sustainability Task Force took manufacturers around, took clients around, took consultants around the show floor. And we had a mapped out plan on some manufacturers that are contributing to sustainability and what they're doing. And seeing so many manufacturers actually taking that step and creating sustainable products. They've swapped out single-use plastics. They're, one manufacturer I saw is making their own cardboard boxes in-house with less ink, and everything is recyclable. So seeing so many manufacturers already taking that step gives me a lot of hope. You know, yesterday someone even asked me if sustainability was a buzzword, and I've had several people ask that, and it's a good question, and it's not. It's definitely here to stay. It's where the industry is moving, and I think it's not only marketable for manufacturers, but it will get you more clients. It will increase profits for you. So it's a win-win. But yeah, just seeing everyone already involved in sustainability really gives me hope that the industry is moving in the right direction.
And what about you, Dave?
So the thing about sustainability is, I guess I'm old, so as a little kid, you saw the Indian crying because you threw and said, don't litter, right? Today, we have laws and regulations, and sustainability is one of those things that's going to be more regulated. As an industry, we want to be in front of that so that when the regulations arrive, we don't have to respond and react to them. We're already in a position where we're doing everything we need to do. So the important part of everything is we have to make sure that we're looking at sustainability not only from a regulation point of view, but an advanced point of view so that we're ahead of that curve. And it's not hard. It's very easy to do. Everything from I'm going to take the cardboard boxes and recycle them rather than throw them in the trash, right? To I'm going to turn the amplifier off or the other pieces that go with it. It's pretty simple. We just need to focus a little bit on it, and we'll be successful. And what we want to do is we want to be ahead of the regulations that are going to come at it.
Well, Kristin,
we all know it's coming.
Exactly.
Kristin and Dave, this is a conversation that we're going to continue to have over the years, right? It's not a simple fix. So we appreciate you coming on and really helping set the stage for a lot of our audience. And thank you so much for joining us on AVIXA TV.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, last segment you saw Sam's favorite thing. I guess let's take a look at mine. Hey everybody, it's Ben here. I get asked all the time, what are some of my favorite things on the show floor? I get to walk around and see so many great things, talk to so many good people. But this year there's really one thing that stands out across really the entire show that I think is really, really cool. And that's this new video bar created by Sennheiser. I'm actually standing in front of a life-size recreation of it right now here at the Sennheiser booth. But I love to see an audio company really diving headfirst into an audio-first video bar, making sure that conferencing not only sounds great, but looks great as well. It's something that not a lot of manufacturers have done well. It's something that a lot of manufacturers have tried. This is something that I've heard personally. It's something that I think sounds incredible, and it's really, really effective, especially for those small, medium-sized business applications. I think there's a lot of impact for our end-user community as well. So this is why this is Ben's favorite thing this year. All right, less Jeep and more technology, which sounds about right. I'm kind of a tech guy at heart, but it is incredible to see as different people have grown into the industry, whether it's through leaving the events industry, through COVID, things like that, seeing manufacturers address some of those communities specifically. It's one of the reasons I love that Sennheiser product, especially from a pro audio standpoint. A little bit easier barrier to entry. So that's why I picked that. But our next guests are our last for this year, unfortunately, which is a little bit sad, but we're optimistic because we're looking forward to next year in Las Vegas. So we're talking about some of the technological advances happening in Las Vegas and some of the ways that that city specifically continues to inform our processes as a Pro AV community. Joined by Scott Williams, Brandon Wood, and Brian Allen. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Scott, we'll start with you. You're a familiar voice on AVIXA TV. For those of you who may not know who Scott is, Scott helped the team over at the Vegas Golden Knights with the projection on the ice. So Scott, we'll start with that, right?
Sure.
Talk about some of the ways that you're seeing specifically Las Vegas from a sporting standpoint leverage some of these technologies.
Sure. Well, the Las Vegas sports teams, they draw local folks, 18,000 people to each game, who are immersed in technology in Las Vegas. They go to the shows, the Cirque shows, which have a lot of media, a lot of integrated technology from our world, and their expectation level is much higher than sports fans in other regions. So they really expect the bar to be raised, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights definitely do that every game. They have a very theatrical performance, very akin to what you would expect in Las Vegas, and we help them by creating content that is visually appealing and really outside of the box of what you normally get in sports.
And then Brandon, same question. What are you seeing and what are you working on with dimensional innovations there?
Yeah, so what we do is experiential work for sponsors and for sports teams, and so we did a lot of work in the Raiders stadium with their Al Davis Memorial Torch. So we actually fabricated and constructed that torch and the experience on top of it, and kind of everything that surrounds that moment. And so what we're trying to do is create an amazing experience for fans and for corporate experiences as well, so that when you go through this experience, you leave with a story and you leave with a moment, and hopefully you've had a great time at the same time.
Well, and Brian, wanted to loop you in here as well. One of the cool things about Las Vegas is that they use technology for a long time, right? Whether you look at a sign that's at the MGM, that thing lives out there for 10, 15 years in some cases. And from your perspective at the Illuminarium, which is an experience out there in Vegas, you have to have technology that wows people for a long time. How are some of those thoughts and long-term needs being met in the initial design process?
Yeah, so at Illuminarium, what we really tried to do was layer technology to bring as much reality to the space as possible, right? And I think by doing that, we had the idea of creating multi-sensory experiences. Las Vegas is not new to multi-sensory experiences, but we came at it from a new angle in that we could transport people in a digital space using scent, interactive, haptics, projection, LiDAR-powered game engine graphics. And that for us, we were a newcomer to that space, but it really allowed us to kind of explore the different technology partners on the scene, but it also made everyone work together because these products don't work together right off the bat, off the shelf, right? So I think what made us unique is really the connective tissue between the products that made everything work together.
And as new venues are coming into Las Vegas, and whether it's sporting or just experiential events, if you will, what are some of the trends that you're seeing since, that public expects a lot, right? So it's got to be really competitive. So what are some of those trends that you're starting to see there?
Yeah.
Well, first off, Las Vegas is the hot spot for everybody in our industry. We should all be excited about the opportunities there because they're always trying to push the bar higher and higher and higher. And I recall, being the old man of the panel here, I recall flying into Vegas 4 decades ago, and all the media experiences were inside the hotels, right? They were the Cirque shows and a little bit of sports book. And now, and then it came outside onto the street, onto all the LED signage up and down the strip, and onto the LV experience downtown Las Vegas. And now, before you even hit the ground in an airplane, you can see the Resorts International video board, and it's crazy. It's come completely out, and so before you ever touch ground in Vegas, your media is saturating you. So.
I think things that get us excited is Area 15 and Omega Mart and Meow Wolf there in Vegas, and then kind of seeing how they're interweaving storytelling into their experiences, so they're mixing that physical and digital, mashing it together, and then putting a storyline to it and giving you something to dig into and explore and try and discover. That and the MSG Sphere is incredible.
The Sphere is an interesting conversation. I'm going to pitch this one to you, Brandon. The Sphere is not something that any user had asked for, right? That they didn't say, I want a gigantic sphere inside Las Vegas with directional audio and full surround video and things like that. But there's this burden that we have as a technology community of proactively finding what our end users will like, right? You guys do that a ton with the Illuminarium. How important is that proactivity when it comes to end user experience, even for things that they don't even know that they want yet?
I think it's important, right? You're trying to figure out what that next kind of step is, what the audience wants. And what I've noticed, I think, is there was this swing towards all digital all the time, where you had these projection experiences, interactive experiences, and I'm beginning to see sort of a swing back to let's incorporate some of those tactile things. Yeah. Let's incorporate more humans into it, more actors, characters in the story, right? And I think that's really, really important because on the other side, where it's a purely digital experience, it almost feels like there's something missing. And I like to see those experiences like Omega Mart, other experiences. One of my favorites in Vegas was an experience called Particle Inc., where it was a theater company that put this on, right? But intermixed with technology that's personalized, so it feels like something that you're participating in rather than something that's happening to you.
And a lot of the AV technology and these experiences, you just go and you see them and they're just mind-blowing, right? You can't even imagine, what could possibly be next, right? So how do you see AV innovation and installations continuing to grow in this, rapidly expanding Las Vegas market?
That's an excellent question. Everybody is trying to create that new power experience. And if I had a nickel for every time someone asked us to create a hologram, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be out on my own island. So those cutting edge technologies still drive what people want to achieve. I mean, LED volumes are everywhere and you can create them. And one of the things that Brian and I were talking about earlier is the technology has advanced so rapidly and the content is kind of lagging a little bit behind. And that's one area where we need to catch up. I completely agree with Brian on the storytelling and the hard set elements. We really should and have been taking a step back from full volumetric experiences to ones that include a better story, better content, and also the gaggery, as we call it, with holographic imagery.
Yeah, I think as long as in Vegas, as long as it's a spectacle, you can kind of try anything at least once, and I think that's trying to meet people's amazing and crazy ideas with the technology that exists and see what you can pull off as what is possible there and what Vegas facilitates, because that's what that audience really wants to see.
I think as audience or experience goers today, we're expecting so much out of an experience. And I think if we're not looking at how do you personalize an experience to the audience member, to that guest, how do you have a dynamic experience? I think passive experiences have their own place, but in this world of location-based, I'm expecting to be a part of the story, right? So I think that looking ahead to those technical advancements in the space, so using things like real-time graphics, using game engines, how do you bring that audience member in? How do you get information before the audience member shows up about them to maybe incorporate into the story? I think that, that personalization aspect is going to be really important.
Well, and doing it in ways where it feels natural,
Yeah.
where people don't, it's not obvious that you took their photo so that you can use it later. It's like integrating that into that experience so it's all part of the story and part of the journey that they're on maybe in that space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, we appreciate the three of you guys joining us today, talking about some of the great things happening in Vegas. Look, if you're watching, these folks are literally shaping the experiences that we have on a daily basis, especially for InfoComm next year. So it'll be incredible to see. Thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Look, we talked about some of the installations happening in Vegas specifically, but we want to take a look ahead to next year's InfoComm and ask some questions. But we've got a couple things happening before that, including some updates to the convention center. Check it out.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on AVIXA TV. We can't wait to be back in Vegas next year for InfoComm 2024, but it's going to be a very busy 12 months for you all until then. Could you tell me, what are some of the exciting new developments that we can look forward to seeing at next year's InfoComm?
Well, we can't wait to have you back next summer for sure. I'll kick off with Labor Day weekend. We will open the MSG Sphere, which I think is particularly of interest to your meeting attendees because it is a state-of-the-art digital entertainment experience like none other. And of course, the first one will be here in Las Vegas. And it's going to be something that you'll be able to enjoy next summer when you're here. And of course, in November this year will be the first of several years commitment from the F1 team. So we're very excited. And when InfoComm is here next summer, what's great is there's going to be programming that can happen on the non-race days. So be looking forward to that, whether you want to drive a luxury car experience on the track or you want to just touch and feel. If you're one of those Netflix gurus and saw the behind the scenes, you'll be able to tap into that as well. And then 60 days later, and a lot in between, we'll be the host of Super Bowl in 2024. So those are just a few things that your attendees can look forward to.
One of the highlights from last year's show that I think all of our participants enjoyed was the Vegas Loop at the convention center, taking a Tesla from one end of the convention center to the other. But there are plans to continue to develop this, right?
The Vegas Loop was born out of the mindset that how do we move our customers around the destination? Certainly we have the climate where you can walk, and it is a very walkable city, but you get your steps in Las Vegas when you come for a convention. And so this was a way to not only get you from point A to point B on the Las Vegas Convention Center campus, but we now connect to the resort corridor. So we've opened the Resorts World stop. We're working on the connection to Encore and to Westgate. And then eventually, when the system is built out over the next couple years, it will basically connect you from the airport, Allegiant Stadium, and the Las Vegas Convention Center, and take what could be a 30-minute ride from Mandalay Bay to the Convention Center and make it happen in 3 minutes. So when you think about the experience that you'll have and the fact that it's a low-emission system, it's not only great for the customer experience, but it's great for our sustainability measures in the destination.
And then the last major development that we ought to touch on is the convention center itself, right? Sounds like there's a renovation that just began recently. It's going to create some big changes to the venue. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
The West Hall expansion was one step in the right direction, adding more exhibition and meeting space. And so with that, everybody has loved the West Hall experience. So that made our previous halls a little lackluster. So we're going to grow. We're already working on the South Hall, and that's going to include some nice visual updates and lighting to create a great customer experience there. And then next year in 24 and in 25, the North and Central halls will go under renovation as well. And I think particular interest to InfoComm, not only will the space look great and provide a visual experience aligned with West Hall, but the technical support, right? So updating the lighting, the Wi-Fi connectivity, the electric, everything that we do to kind of power business that's happening in this building will all get updated. And so again, not just a visual and pleasing experience, but one that can actually support what you're trying to accomplish as a business when you're here. And when you come next summer, some of that renovation will be going on, so you'll get a glimpse of it. We will promise to be as least disruptive as possible. But another nice thing that's happening on the campus is the opening of the Fontainebleau Hotel as well. This has been long anticipated. I can tell you from the hard hat tours that it is going to be a beautiful resort that will open at the end of 22. So it will be ready for InfoComm next summer. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Can't wait for the show next year, but until then, make sure you follow along on both the AVIXA Exchange and AVIXA TV. Some great content happening between now and then. Always want to stay up to date with what's happening, so that's a great place to do it.
I'm sad that this is over.
It is unfortunately over. Now I've got to like hop on my horse and hope I can get there before next year. I don't know if I could take a horse to Vegas like that.
I don't think you should, but InfoComm, if you're here, still walk around, check out all the amazing exhibits. There's still so much to see and do. But our show for AVIXA TV, that's coming to an end.
That's a bummer, but yeah, you're right. The show floor is still open. Lots of great technology to see out here this year. And Friday actually is one of the best days to get your hands on some of that technology. But you won't see us for a while, probably until next year. So, Sam, it was amazing getting to see you again this year at InfoComm.
It's been a pleasure. Karaoke, hat, all of it. You didn't hurt me this year with the bump, but
I know.
we'll see if we can incorporate that again next
Look, and we appreciate those of you joining us online on the Exchange, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, wherever you're watching, YouTube as well. We appreciate you guys so much, and we ask so much for your attention. That doesn't make sense. Never mind. Ignore what I just said. Look, guys, we love you. We're so appreciative of you. Thank you so much for tuning in this year to AVIXA TV. Stay tuned with us the rest of the year. We'll see you next year.
See you later.
If you're installing or troubleshooting network devices, you know that reliable operation depends upon the performance of the cabling and the network. With LinkIQ, you get cable testing from the world leader along with network testing. The LinkIQ can characterize the performance of your cable up to 10 gigabits per second and troubleshoot problems fast. When it's time to connect to the network, LinkIQ shows you the switch name and IP address, the port number, speed, and VLAN. It also shows the IP address of the switch and performs a connectivity test to an IP address of your choice. Plus Power over Ethernet testing that includes a load test to make sure the power you need is really there. When you're done, store the results, then document it with Linkware, the industry's de facto standard. LinkIQ, cable testing you trust and network testing you need.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling audio solution for AV conferencing. Because it mounts overhead, it provides more consistent sound quality throughout the room than an all-in-one soundbar mounted on the wall. The MXA902 has all three things needed for exceptional audio in small to medium-sized meeting spaces. First, there's an advanced array microphone with single-zone automatic coverage technology. It captures every participant in a 20 by 20 foot area right out of the box. Second, onboard IntelliMix DSP eliminates annoying echo and room noise and adjusts talker levels automatically. Everyone is heard clearly no matter where they sit. Finally, the MXA902 has a built-in wide dispersion loudspeaker that delivers robust sound throughout the room without the need for external speakers and amplifiers. Remote participants and program audio playback are easy to hear. With its revolutionary integrated design, the MXA902 is quicker to install than individual microphones, loudspeakers, and signal processors. One network cable with PoE Plus is all you need. The MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the ideal solution for AV conferencing in small and medium-sized meeting rooms. It's the fastest way to better sound.
The industry has evolved over the years. Analog to digital, isolated to network, server-based to cloud-based, but fundamental pains persist. Rolling out hundreds of rooms quickly and reliably is difficult, time-consuming, and expensive. Complex equipment frustrates staff, managers, and executives alike. The recent shift to hybrid offices has organizations considering replacement of outmoded systems. They're looking for simple, reliable, flexible, secure, and easy-to-budget video conferencing solutions. It's time for a totally new approach. It's time the AV industry met the Internet of Things. Introducing Conference Room as a Service, subscription-based products and services only from Wesco. A subscription that scales and works for your business. Together, with your preferred AV installer, we help you choose the right size system for your meeting spaces, small rooms, medium-sized rooms, and large conference rooms. Once you've chosen the size room you want to deploy, choose Zoom or Microsoft Teams and add options like bring your own device and a monitor if needed. Then choose how many rooms you want to add to your subscription. It's that easy. Once your AV integrator has installed and activated your equipment, your Conference Room as a Service subscription has you covered with advanced replacement, an industry-leading warranty, live 24/7 world-class help desk support, and a portal for remote monitoring and service tickets. With this service, all rooms are online and ready to go once connected to the network. It's never been easier to deploy, monitor, and evolve your workplace technologies, all at an affordable price with easy payments. Conference Room as a Service subscription-based products and services, only from Wesco. Simple, reliable, flexible, secure, easy to budget.